Is There More is the podcast where creators share how their darkest moments became the breakthroughs that changed everything. We're building a space for raw stories, deep connection, and real hope for everyone who's still writing their story. Brought to you by Dialogue Life Skills, the world's scalable solution to the teen and young adult mental health crisis. I'm your host, Megan A Tully, and I'm listening. Today I'm sitting down with country artist and philanthropist Laura Bryna. After losing her father to a drunk driving car accident when she was younger and her brother surviving a brain aneurysm, Laura became very close with her mother and was inspired and moved by country music. Laura has spent her time with family, working on her career, and partnering with organizations like Make-A-Wish Foundation and NAMI, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization, to make an impact across the world. Her new single, Rise, is an anthem of resilience, and so is her life story. Welcome, Laura Bryna.
Hi, so excited to be here. Sorry,
Hello.
I'm in my friend's recording studio. So there's
Oh, that's great.
there used to be all these other things. Then he put a mirror in, so I don't know.
I think it's fine. It's not doing anything weird for the lighting, so it's totally fine.
Okay.
But so good to have
All
you.
right.
Good to see you again. Long time no see.
I know, right? We did our big hair as promised.
I know. We had a little agreement last night.
We did. We had an agreement because we were both talking about our curly hair, and I was like, I had straightened it and put a little curl back into it, and then I was like, well, I have really big curly hair normally, and people were like, ah. So I was like, fine, we'll do a compromise, and we'll do curly tomorrow.
It suits you. It very
Thank you.
much suits you. The
bigger
big
the hair,
hair
the
with the
closer the
big
guy.
personality. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
No, but you were such a joy last night. I'm glad we got to meet in person at Hollywood and Mind on location in Nashville. I know it's your city, so you have more knowledge about Nashville than I do. But did you grow up in Nashville, or where are you from?
No, actually, yes, last night was such a great event. I'm so excited to be a part of everything going forward. And yeah, it's a great organization that, people can reach out and get the help that they need. But no, Nashville's a great town. Everybody's so welcoming and warm here. And I'm originally from the Maryland area.
Okay.
As I always say, turn left at the Cal, right at the church kind of directions. But I have family in Nashville, so I've always been coming to Nashville too. And then, it was the place to pursue the dream. So that was the right thing to do, is make the
Absolutely.
move.
You grew up in Maryland. Can you tell me what your childhood was like there?
Sure. I'm very lucky. Going through some different traumas in my life too. I was so lucky to have a loving childhood too. My father passed away from a car accident, drinking and driving, and hit a tree. And as a result, then, we're all a bunch of mixed marriages, deaths, divorces, and that kind of thing. So we're a big family, and we all like to call it, like, we all think of it that way, as a big family. But and then my brother suffered a brain aneurysm and went into a coma for 6.5 months, and then came out of that and was doing great and all of that. So that's actually kind of how I got into country music, really, was, because country music is all about real life events and things that people are going through, whether it makes you laugh, it makes you cry, it touches your heart in some way, shape, or form. And, my mom and I were driving to Washington, D.C. every day from the middle of nowhere in Maryland. So it would take us like an hour and 10, hour and 30, depending on how the highways and beltways and all of these things were going. And we were listening to country music, and it was, those melodies, those lyrics, those things that, those were traumas and things that we were going through. And, some of the songs made us laugh. Some of them made us cry. Maybe then some of them were like, oh, that's what we're going through. So that's kind of how I got into country music, or my love of music and country music really came about. But really, I've been very blessed, knock on wood. I've come from a very loving family, very supportive. Here I am living this dream, and it's like, hi, I'm leaving. I'm going to Nashville. So I packed up my birds, because I'm the crazy parrot chick, with my dad. With my dad, because my mom remarried, and it's my dad always. And so we drove to Nashville, and that was where the dream started. And I'm someone that loves learning. I love experiencing life. I love being a sponge. I want to take every life experience, anything in that I can draw upon, especially in your writing or in your songwriting or in your music or whatever it may be. So I just kind of immersed myself in the community here, cowboy boots and all. And, it got to work. And so it's been great. Obviously in this business, I think as they talked about yesterday in the event is, and all the different speakers that they had, that there's a lot of ups and downs in this business too. It's, there can be a lot of sad moments. There can be some frustrating moments. There can be some really exciting moments. And those are the moments you kind of live for in this business. But there's a lot of, and I'm sure in your business too, that there's a lot of no's and yuck and all of that stuff too. It's just, it's how you pick yourself up and you keep going. And this is my dream. And you got that tunnel vision. Either get on the train or get the hell out of the way.
Wow. It's how you rise.
It is how you rise. Yes.
I was listening to that song this morning. So let me see if I got all this so far. So you grew up in Maryland. It was in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. You had a few traumatic events. Your dad died by a drunk driving car crash, and then your brother went into a coma from a brain aneurysm. And so you ended up getting really close with your mom. And, you guys were going through your traumas together and kind of trying to figure it out. And you would drive back and forth to Washington, D.C., listening to country music. And that's where you kind of got your love for it because of the way the songs affected you. You would laugh, you would cry, and you guys kind of bonded over that. And so you decided to pick yourself up and move to Nashville. If you'd like to do something small today to make an impact on mental health, Laura is encouraging people to make a video using her song Rise and post it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I'll put the link down below because every video created and posted donates $1 back to NAMI, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization. So, happy filming.
When all of that trauma was happening, I actually... It's so cute. I just recently found out that I did this, but my mom told me that I would stick my shoes inside her shoes so that they wouldn't be lonely in her closet. Is that not the cutest darn thing?
That is the cutest thing I've ever heard.
And so my mom asked the pediatrician, I'm just hearing this, this might have been 6 months ago that my mom told me about this. And I was like, really? She said, yeah, I'd asked the pediatrician about it, that. And, at the time, I know it's funny, I have a lot of big hair and a lot of hair, but at the time, some of my hair fell out. Mm-hmm. And so it's funny, people ask me, they're like, oh my gosh, I love your highlights. Cause I had a spot here where a lot of my hair fell out. Mm-hmm. And so it grew back, kind of blondish, lighter brown. And people are like, oh my gosh, where do you get your highlights done? I'm like, go through a trauma in your life. You'll be great. It'll work out just fine. But yeah, I'm like,
wow.
I was like, yeah, I said, I don't know about coloring my hair, but okay. I was like, okay, I got a little bit of, I got some blonde highlights or whatever. But yeah, I guess the pediatrician said, that's her way of coping and watching her mother go through something. Cause I'm it's a half brother, a half, stepsister. We're all different, we're all intertwined in some way, shape, or form. But we consider ourselves a really big family, and we don't think of it that way. We all think of us as, we think of all of us together as just a big family that are and, we're always reaching out, hey, good luck with this, or hey, I'm thinking about you with this, or, and especially, I think you and I talked about it last night too. It's when there's a trauma in your life, everybody comes together, and you really see. I was talking to my mom about it too this morning because I said, I was coming to see you and whatnot, and I said, it's interesting how people come together, or you find out when you're going through something, you're like, who really matters in your life and who shows up for all the crap. Because it's not always when everything's amazing and and the big things are going on. It's when all the crap is happening. Who is there? That's what counts. you know?
Absolutely.
Because, yeah, it's easy to be there when the great things are happening.
Stuff
That's
is
easy,
great. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, those dark moments, which we all have those dark moments, um, and they can happen at all different kinds of moments and things like that. You never know when that's going to happen. And really, you know, as you were talking about Rise too, like the song that we wrote, I mean, I write songs about empowerment and things like that. Like you know, because, you know, the internet's a great thing and it's a really bad thing. You know, it's something where, you know, people can say great things and they're so complimentary or they're so appreciative or things like that. But then there's times where you've got these trolls on the internet with nothing better to do than be like, well, why does she wear such glitter eye makeup? Why is her hair so big? It goes even further. Like, why does she hold her neck like that? I'm like,
What?
what? Oh, yeah, because
That's
I'll get like a
crazy.
picture like this. And I'm
It's
like,
like people have nothing
and
better
I
to do.
sing like
Like,
that too. Like, it's just
you mean
everybody
open
has a
your
thing.
throat?
Right. I sing like this. And so people are like, why can't she just put her head down? I'm like, because you get into it and you lift up like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just, so
That's
anyway, so we wrote this song and I got together with a couple of writers and I was like, you know, I want to write something where, as I like to call them, suck moments. And I'm somebody that when I'm going through a suck moment, I pick myself up out of that suck moment. And they were talking about that yesterday at the event. And it's like, it's how you rise to the occasion. It's how you get yourself out of that suck moment. And it's hard to do. Don't get me wrong. Like, it can be hard. Sometimes you're just, and that's, you know, that's what therapy is about. That's what reaching out and knowing that there's help out there. That's what Hollywood Mind is all about, is you're not alone. You can get through this. There are people here that want to support you, that want to help you through those suck moments, as I call them. And we wrote this song, Rise, and it's about rising to the occasion. It's everybody's faced adversity in their life in some way, shape, or form. And it's about the fighter in you.
Yep.
You know, it's wanting to fight back and like, I'm not letting you take me down. Whether the world is, you know, got that moment where it's taking you down. You're like, no. I'm picking myself up all by myself and I'm going to put my best boots on. And rise to that occasion. And, you know, it's your best friend sitting there saying, hey, you got this. You're going to do this. You know, and it doesn't matter if it's a hard day or if it's you're shoveling snow or whatever it may be, you know, it's how you get there.
Yeah.
And it's been really special, you know, when we wrote the song, I didn't know that it was going to become, I mean, as I'm sure as an actor, you know, you sit there and you're like, oh, you know, you hope that this touches somebody. You hope that somebody relates to my character or whatnot like that. And when we put the song out, we were just like, you know, you put songs out there and it's like, you're like naked and you're like, okay, I hope everybody likes this. I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And people have been reaching out saying that this song, I mean, it chokes me up when I think about it because it's like, you know, as an artist, if you touch one person, then you've done your job, you know, as an artist, as a songwriter, whatever. You can't even believe that people keep writing and saying, hey, you know, I'm going in for radiation today and we get to pick one song to listen to and we chose your song. And I'm like, you know, it's one of those things that you're just like, you know, it does, it touches you and you're just like blown away that as an artist that you can have that effect and that this song really has meant something to people. And it's gone viral and people have been posting videos and things like that. And it's just, it's a wild thing. And, you know, something that was always so important to my parents was to always give back and help people in any way that you can, whether it's volunteering, whether monetarily or stuffing envelopes or making phone calls or getting out there and saying, hey, I'm here to help, whatever that is. And I love knowing that, and I hope that my dad's watching and knowing that I'm helping people, I'm changing people's lives, I'm helping by them listening to this song or my voice, and it is a collaboration with a wonderful artist, Common Tribe. You know, the two of us, we got together and we were just like, we want to make a difference. We want to help people. And this, and I've decided that for every dollar that, for every video that people make using the song Rise and explaining what they're going through or what the day's like for them or this happened or whatnot, we are going to donate $1 to the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So, we want to help in any way that we can. So yeah, it's been great. And people have been posting nonstop. So it's great. We're making a difference.
Yeah, you are. I love it's such a powerful song, and it's funny you say that so
Thank
many
you.
people are impacted by it because I just heard it yesterday for the first time, and I immediately was like, I'm sending this to my friend who she's had autoimmune disease for forever, and
Yeah.
she was actually a previous guest on the podcast and spoke about her story, and I filmed her 10 years ago. We made a mini documentary to raise money for her illness.
Oh, wow.
And she was the first person I thought about, and I sent it to her. And it's just such a powerful, it's a powerful song, and it has the spirit in it, the fighting spirit.
Thank you.
Thank you for making that and sharing it with the world. And it's so cool that you're giving back to NAMI as well.
Yeah.
With those videos. What a cool campaign.
Yeah. We, because I sat down with the team and, as you know, it takes a team to be Laura Bryna. Yeah, I may be the face of it, but there's a lot of people that go into all of this, to make this dream happen. As a child, you say, I want to sing or I want to touch people's hearts. I want to make them feel something. It's like, you don't know what that's going to turn out to be or what that really looks like. And, there's always different opportunities that come along the way that you didn't know would come along either, because you didn't even know. And so, yeah, I mean, this song, it's really, I'm totally blown away and touched by it. I just, you put, as an actress, you put your craft out there and, you hope people respond. You hope people like it. You hope they feel the character that you're portraying, whatever it may be. And as an artist, I like to call myself an interpreter of song.
Wow.
I take lyrics and I create a character too. And, I think about it and it's like, just even in the sense of like, in my own life, how I picked myself up, I lost my other dad, who I've been so blessed and so lucky to have two wonderful fathers in my life. I just lost him a couple years ago to a horrible, rare blood cancer. And I was there for the last month of during hospice care and whatnot. And I guess, I didn't really realize. I guess I did, but I didn't. When you go, I packed up all my shit and I, took extra shampoo, conditioner. I didn't know how long I was going to be there. It didn't matter, whatever. And I got to spend that time. And I guess I didn't realize at the time, maybe I did in the back of my mind, that I was going there to help my dad pass away.
Wow.
But you don't really know that. You do and you don't. And, even though when you're there, okay, like I'm administering morphine and I'm like, they had to show me all the different things. And I know different states, it's different laws about different things about giving morphine and whatnot. And, and you're sitting there and you're just like, okay, I'm a musician. I don't know anything about any of this, but it was one of the best things I ever did in my whole life, was spend that month with my dad in this hospice care. We had it at the house. And I got to do the conga with my mom and my dad as we were going to the toilet, because my dad had to go and we had to help him get there. And we did the conga and there it was, and it was one of the greatest memories I'll ever have with my dad, and even driving down, to Nashville and across the country with the birds. I mean, there we were singing songs and, going into hotels and things and shoving birds up our shirts, and our shirts are going like this. And the hotel's like, everything okay? Yeah, great. And they're like, when you're not supposed to have an animal in your room, but there we were with like our shirts moving. I'm like, yeah, just movable tits,
I can't
But
even picture. Are you known
yeah, it
as
was
the parrot lady? Does everybody know this
yeah
about you?
the bird chick.
So
Yeah.
they just kind of let
In
you.
fact, I've written a couple of children's books about my birds too, so that are
Okay,
coming out next year. But
good. So they
um,
just know. People just know that then. They're
yeah,
like,
they
oh,
know.
it's just Laura.
It's just Laura. It's crazy, and then the big hair and like the whole thing, and my cockatoo's a diva with her crest up and the whole thing. But yeah, it was one of those magical things. And for myself, I've actually, um, Lena, who's been a wonderful therapist for me, like it's been great to reach out to her and just to even talk to her about the things, my dad, as my mom would always say, my dad was one of the best looking sick people you'll ever meet. You would never have known he was like deathly ill.
Wow.
He always looked great. I mean, so, so it was sometimes it's hard to remember that he was not well because
Mm.
he was just like bopping and jumping and they were going. And, it wasn't until like the last year that maybe he started to like, the disease started to take over really. But, when he decided to stop all the blood transfusions and things like that and then go into hospice care, must have been a pretty hard decision to make that, or it must have been pretty miserable. And I've talked with Lena about that and saying, gosh, you go through all these different thoughts of like, why doesn't he want to have blood transfusions for me? Doesn't he want to stay around for me? And and
Wow.
I don't think of myself as a selfish person. In fact, anybody that knows me, like friends of mine are like, Laura, you need to take care of yourself. Like you also need to take care of yourself. The airplane syndrome, as I call it. You
Yeah.
stick the mask on yourself first and then you put it on the person next to you. And I just think that's a foreign concept. I understand it, but then it's like, well, then no, because then two people die as opposed, So, and it's such a true thing, like So, and I would talk to her about that, and I said, gosh, it must have been pretty hard and dark to then finally decide that just I've had enough.
Mm.
So that's sometimes those are things that I talk about with her too, because my dad and I, even though not blood related, um, we always joke. We would always joke about it because, like, he and I are so alike. We're both anal. We're detailed. We're so sensitive. Like, if somebody looks at us the wrong way, we're like, "Oh my God, do you think they like this one?" But we always had that connection, and I always thought, well, because they were testing everybody else's blood to see if they were a match for him,
Oh, wow.
for a bone marrow transplant, and nobody was a match. I'm like, watch, just because I'm not related doesn't mean I'm like my shit's good. You're gonna want to use mine, but they couldn't do it legally or whatever. But I was like, look, my stuff's good. You're gonna want to do that. But yeah, no, I think I knew, and especially like the day my dad passed away, it was like I remember my mom and I sitting there like we were both like, well, now what do we do?
Wow.
Because you feel like not that you don't always have a purpose, but like you had a purpose in taking care of him, and then you're like, what do we do
Mm.
now?
That's interesting.
And so that was a hard thing for me to understand too. It's like, oh God, granted, like I know that my dad is here watching me pursuing my dream and so excited about the different things that I've accomplished and
Mhm.
going through. But it's still like, yeah, it's still hard. You miss him and there's things and there's times that, yeah, and like I'll say to Len, I'm like, why didn't he choose to keep doing the blood transfusions? He would still be here. And she's like, oh, what kind of life is that? For
Yeah.
him, maybe he was just like, I'm tired, I'm done with all of this.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing for me to swallow. And again, I don't think about myself as being a selfish person, but I'm like, but I want my dad here too, So that's
Yeah.
a hard thing in that sense. But
It's
I love that, Hollywood Mind. I love being able to NAMI. I love all these different organizations that, because mental health is a real thing.
hmm
It's a real issue. And people need a safe place to go to be able to talk about whatever it is, not be judged, and have somebody help them. I mean, especially for me, like Lena's helped me look at different things um, in different ways that I may not have thought of and be like, oh, okay, all right, I understand. And like kind of helps you look at and if you need to make a decision on something, there's different roads to take, and okay, this one has this reason, and this is this, and this is that. And so I really, it's been so wonderful, to that it's not somebody that knows me. She doesn't know, doesn't care. Not that, like, I mean, obviously wants me to be okay, but like, is not a part of my life really.
Yeah.
So, and it's like the friend that that's just there to listen, because you and I were talking about it last night. Listening is such a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a good listener to be a great friend too.
When did you, like, what taught you that? Were you always just aware of this, that listening is so important? Or was there like a moment or a situation that was like, oh, I need to learn how to listen, or I want to teach people how to listen more?
Actually, it was, I'd probably say my vocal coach, who's also like one of my bestest of friends too, Janet. She was like, because, when you're in your friend, I'm sure like acting coaches, you become close with people regardless of, I mean, yes, they're coaching you in your profession, but also you still get them. You're like, you shoot the shit and you're like, oh, this is what's going on in my life, blah, 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 whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, just with things, in whether it's been a conversation with, management or whatever it may be, she's like, you always have to listen. Listen first and then react. And it's such a key thing, like, because I'm somebody, if there's dead space, I'm like, okay, I'm going to fill it.
Yeah.
Like I think yesterday, like there was a show, we were doing a show yesterday, and they had said they were going to do cuts in and out and all these different things. And then, then they still kept running the camera. I was like, okay, well, here we are. So it's just like, I'm like, performing. All right, well, if nobody's talking, then I'll just fill it. But no, but like in difficult situations, she's like, always listen. Take time, listen to what they're saying, and then formulate your opinion or your idea or whatever, and then speak. Because I think you can react so quickly, and it can be the wrong thing, or that isn't how they meant it, or, that's the thing. I always say, like, text messages are, I'll be there in 5. Love you. You're amazing. Whatever, something. Do not have an argument over a text message. Because it can be meant in so many different ways. And even like, even Zoom, I mean, you can't see what my bottom half's doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, body language is a whole thing. I'm standing here, I've got a plie and whatever, and I do have my sweatpants on and whatever, and my slippers, but don't judge.
Same.
But the up top is fine. I mean, but that's the thing. Like so much is said in silence.
Ooh.
In just listening. Yeah. I mean, I think that's like, is there more, like you're saying, your podcast is the same thing. It's like, what is it? So that's what I think. But
how has that learning that skill of listening changed your personal and professional life?
It's definitely been something I've had to learn and teach, okay. I have to talk to myself. Okay. Like I have this inner dialogue going. Okay, Laura, don't talk. Laura, don't talk. Laura, don't talk. Okay. Laura, don't talk. And then it's like, wait, listen, wait. And then it's like, okay, because even like, this is so funny, but like when my sister would get in trouble, my dad would grab her hand and he would squeeze it. Instead of yelling, like, he'd be like, you're not going to do that. And it was like the fear of God. It was one of those, because you really had to listen to what he was saying.
Yeah.
And you don't have to yell at somebody. You could talk just like this and say exactly what you mean. And it was so true. Like, I've become, because I'm somebody that just, I love yakking. I get excited about life.
Yeah.
But you also need to take time to smell the roses and listen to what the other person's saying too.
Wow. I actually love that visual of smelling roses. I've never heard anyone put those two things together. Like, stop and smell the roses. I usually think about like, enjoy life, right? Like, have fun.
Right,
But you just said it as stop and smell the roses, as in like I guess tune into the present moment to listen to what
Yeah.
somebody's saying to you. That's actually interesting. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try
Okay.
to make the listening mechanism when somebody's talking. I'm gonna smell roses, in my
And
sense
yeah.
memory, and see if that brings me back into the present moment to listen. That's an interesting little tool.
Yeah. I mean, you do have to live in the moment, but because tomorrow's not promised. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So
Yeah.
yes, take time. It can mean various things.
Yeah.
Is to live in that moment, but also stop, listen, and then
And then
speak.
respond.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. So over all this time, you talked about a little bit about ups and downs in your career.
sure.
And like you obviously have this like clear resilience of like getting through every obstacle. Do you find yourself to be somebody who kind of just like pushes through, or do you take that same time, find out what the next direction for you is? How do you overcome stuff and like keep your mental health in check at the same time?
I think it's D, all of the above. I think it's a lot of everything. Um, I don't like to let myself live in suck moments.
Hmm.
I I kind of sit there and I'm like, okay, I'm somebody that likes lists. I also write down a lot of things. Whether it's post-it notes or whatever, I have them in the car. Obviously, I have them near my hair dryer. Spend a lot of time there,
Of
next to the
course.
toilet, whatever. But I like to write things down a lot and what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling. Um, Maybe why I've felt that way or whatever that is going on. Um, I also am a thinker too. I am guilty of that as well.
Hmm.
Um, but there's also some good to being a thinker too. Like I like when something didn't necessarily go the right way or whatever, I'm like, okay, why would that have happened? I also am somebody that likes to surround myself with people that are better than me,
Hmm.
whether it's as a musician in the same field, whatever it is. I love learning. I love, like I said before, I love being that sponge. I love learning I want to learn as much as I can about my craft, about life, all of the above. Um, and, I sit there and I try to analyze, okay, or I ask other professionals, hey, what do you think happened in this situation? Or how can I be better?
Hmm.
Or, and it's funny, like as an artist too, and I'm sure as an actress, you do the same thing. Oh, this take could have been better, or this, or, oh, but then the director liked it that way, and we get in our heads a lot too.
Yeah.
Um, and we, oh, and like, I've started a thing where I like, before I go on stage or before I go and write a song or I go and stand in the mirror and I'm like, this is going to be a good day. You got this. Let's go. Let's go get this. Because there's a lot of there's the good and the bad sitting on your shoulders, and you're like, now don't do this. Now don't. We can be our worst enemy doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you can kill a moment, you can do, and it's like, no, we practice. It's just like the Olympics. Any one of those athletes can win. It's just who's having a great day.
Yeah.
I
Who
mean, they've all
who set their
trained
mind to
forever.
it? Yeah.
Who's great under pressure? Who's having a great day? Their so and so's ankles feeling better. Whatever.
Okay.
It, it can be that mental game that we play with ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and you can ruin things. You can ruin a moment that way, and it's like, and Lena's taught me those things too, is to really talk about, within yourself. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not, she's like, you have to talk to yourself in the sense that, no, she's like, "Look, you've got this. You know these songs backwards and forwards. You've sung them a zillion times, whatever, because I'm somebody that loves practicing. If I'm having a suck moment, I go into my office, rehearsal space, whatever you want to call it in my place. And I go in there and I sing because I love to sing. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter what it is. It could be one of my songs, or it could be something like, because, Stronger by Kelly Clarkson, because,
Right.
I'm going
Yeah.
to conquer the day. Um, but, you know, as artists, as creative people, we feed off of our audience and that reaction. I know for me, being on stage, like I love the recording studio, don't get me wrong, but being on stage is, as my team will tell you, is my happy place. There's, that I've never done drugs in my life. And I mean, yes, I may have had a drink here or there, but I love that feeling. It's such a high. It's that, hi, Laura, you got me. Come get me. Come get me. And I'm like, okay. Like, I'm like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. It's like that carrot. I'm coming.
Yeah.
And as a creative person, you feel that that's what drives you in this business, is that fire, that love of your craft and what you're doing, and making people feel something and touch them. So, there are those moments that you're like, okay, why did this happen? And sometimes I find myself like, I have to talk to Lena and say, hey, gosh, I'm living in this space. I need to get out of this space. And she's like, well, then let's think about it. Why are you in this space? Or why do you think this happened? And, we're our own worst critic. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, other people didn't see that. They're like, oh my God, Laura was so great, or whatever. And I'm like, but oh my God, why did I turn my head on that one note? Like, I don't know, some craziness.
Right.
But what
something
I'm saying.
that the people in the comments will say later.
Right, exactly. You're
crazy.
like, whatever.
And
so you have to, with that, you also have to have strength with comment and the internet and things like that too, or have your team handle it, because people are going to say whatever they want to say.
Great
It's
idea.
like,
Have your team handle it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Take
there's
the
some
good
wackadoodle, as I call them, wackadoodle thoughts on there. I'm like, they're like, again, why did she hold her neck that way? I'm like, because I sing, dude.
Open your mouth. Have you ever tried
I mean,
speaking?
yeah,
You're open to the world.
yeah.
So you would be, okay, so you're kind of like advice for accomplishing great things. Surround
Yeah.
yourself with people who
Good
are
people.
better than you or more knowledgeable. Kind of check for their feedback, and their perspectives on, is this situation, am I seeing this situation correctly? Could I see it a different way? Things like that. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go.
I really like how you almost compared it to athletes. You compared it like, whoever's having the best day that day is going to win because everybody's prepared enough. I was having a conversation with Kizzo, a Grammy-winning music producer, last night, he spoke earlier in the day, and he said, like, I asked him, like, how do you know you're writing the best song? And he's like, well, I pay attention to the competition. It's basically like winning over the competition. Is this song better than this song? And I know because I have ears. And I was like, huh. But it's funny that you just mentioned athletes too and competition, because we were kind of comparing it to, like, compare yourself, but study the competition. Don't really compare. And a lot of people like go into the negative form of comparison online, like younger people especially, that they either compare and they're like, oh, my life isn't as good as this person, or they just like don't look at all and just create their own art, and then they get kind of like cheap validation from people who are whatever, and maybe it's not that good. But I don't know. The thing about the athletes was interesting to me, because now that's mentioned twice by music people in the same 24-hour period.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody is talented in their own way, shape, or form, and it's what you bring to the table. I mean, I remember when I was driving to Nashville, that, like, it was the night before, I was sitting in bed with my parents, and my mom said to me, there's always going to be somebody prettier, there's always going to be somebody richer, there's going to be somebody that's poor, there's going to be somebody much taller, fatter, heavy, all these different things. And she's like, you go to Nashville with your big curly hair and your big toothy smile that I have, and I also have big boobs, but that's all I know. And she's like, you go there and you be yourself. And I actually wrote a song about that too, which isn't out yet. It's called I'm Her. But it's being the best you can be, being the most authentic you can be. Because when you're trying to be something that you're not, people know. They know when you're not yourself. And, you know, because I get comments of like, why doesn't she wear ripped jeans? Why does she wear a glitter eye? I mean, like all those different things that you and I talked about.
Yeah.
And it's like, do I own a pair of ripped jeans? Sure I do. But like, you know, I like being me. You know, this is who I am. Take it or leave it or I'll go away.
Right.
And you have to know, because this is a hard thing to learn. I think I'm still working on it, but you know, not everybody's going to like you, and not everybody's going to love what you're doing. Not everybody, you know, it's not this or that or whatever. And it's hard to learn because I'm always like, why don't they like me? You know, it's just different strokes for different folks or whatever that saying is. I don't know, but so
You're
that's
not
a hard thing.
Yeah.
Right. You know, that's a hard thing to learn. So, and I'm still working on that, but yeah, you know, it's how you rise to the occasion for sure.
Nice. I love that. Back to the rise. So you have many performances coming up, I think, but
Yeah.
Miss Christmas is
Miss
almost
Christmas.
Christmas time. Tell
I
me about
know. Christmas is such a wonderful holiday for us. It's, you know, it's about family and friends. It's about giving back and you know, even though having so much trauma in life, as you know, we've all had different things, you know, it's still great to celebrate the great times and the moments of being together, and you know, being excited about life, and that we all are so lucky we can be together and share in those moments. And those that aren't here with us, we know that they are part of those moments, just maybe in a different place, but they're here with us all the time. And but yeah, Christmas is a wonderful time in our house. We all are together. We laugh, we joke, we talk about the people that we love that are missing or maybe not here with us today. I was also born on Christmas. I was delivered to my mom in a stocking. 26 hours of labor later. She said it was definitely a day we won't forget. Imagine that. Like I had all this hair and took 26 hours, whatever. No, I'm just kidding. But I did have some hair, but yeah, so you know, I'm very blessed, you know, because it's a time where everybody's usually together. So you know, because other people's birthdays and things, you know, people aren't always together because life is happening or whatnot, but mine happens to be a special holiday. So I get to share in all that. So I love the holidays. It's a fun time. But I know it can also be a dark time for people too. You know, I do understand that. So, you know, in our family, we always try to invite people over who may not have family or who are going through a dark time. We always want them to be a part of our family. And, you know, anybody and everybody's welcome. That's always been something that my parents have always said. You know, we never want anybody to feel alone or be alone on the holidays. So that's just important. And actually, one of my children's books talks about that too. So.
Children's books. Okay, so tell me, you have children of your own?
My birds.
Your birds?
No,
okay.
I do not have kids of my own.
And so why do you love to write children's books, or why are you writing children's books?
You know what's funny? I actually have never, this is like you and I were talking about, how the dream becomes other things. I did not even know that I knew how to write children's books because my stick figures have problems. I cannot draw to save my life. Oh my God.
But you can write. You can write your little bird tail off.
Right. Well, we learned, although I had to have a friend of mine, I have a couple friends of mine in LA who are great animators who've like animated like or worked on, I guess it was like Lady and the Tramp 2 and all these different Lion King 2 that have just come out and all these different things. So they draw.
Yeah.
And I had a friend of mine, another friend of mine out in LA. He James, he went through and, you know, kind of cut and chopped, because I didn't know that children's books, picture books should be like 30 pages. I mean, a girlfriend of mine, Heather, and I, we were just sitting there writing and just having a blast. There we were with our junk food and just sitting there, you know, all right, here we are writing about Laura's birds. Okay. Because everybody knows about me and my birds. And so one of them, the cockatoo, Snuggles, with the crescent, she's a diva. And she goes, one of the books is Snuggles goes to Hollywood to become a star. basically. And, the trials and tribulations, the car breaks down and it's like, are we going to get there? Oh my gosh. And she goes to, along the way, she goes to like the crater in Arizona, and she performs this, she's on the set there and pretending that it's a big, like she's there. She's like, I'm here for my close up, Mr. Goldfinch. Like there's a little play on words and stuff like that.
That's good.
And then, but the other birds rally around her to say, just, Snuggles, you can do this, teamwork, whatever, and that kind of thing. And then we have a Christmas book, which isn't really totally about Christmas. It's about giving back. And yes, like they sleep under the tree and they bake cookies and they go sledding and all that stuff. But yet the birds also learn that they go to a soup kitchen and they feed other homeless birds. And then a tradition that was something in our house that our parents always had us do is we would find a student in our class who maybe thought, or their family thought, that Santa wasn't going to come that year. Right. And we would find out everything about the student anonymously. And we would go out and buy gifts and make gifts. And the night before Christmas, we would leave them on the porch of their house or their apartment or whatever it may be, knock on their door, and we ran. And they never knew. And because the spirit of giving is not about getting a thank you. It's about giving and walking away because you don't need a thank you. You give because that's in your heart to give. You don't need a thank you.
Wow.
So.
Your whole life, I feel like, has been centered around that heart-centered giving, and whether it's your time or your gifts, singing, your voice, writing, collaboration with people, performance, any of it, or even, you're involved, I think, with Make-A-Wish as well.
Yes.
Many NAMI, all these different organizations.
Yeah.
Wow. What a great example of like balance you are. Your story is so inspiring, and the way you live your life is also very inspiring. And
thank you.
I love that you're doing children's books, just because, like, I believe, as early as we could teach young kids, life experience, what
Sure.
Don't be your own, worst inner critic, things like that. Like, I think that can create much better mental health, and maybe
Absolutely.
even kids might look to you as a role model, and if they don't have one right in their household and things
Sure.
like that. Is that kind of like your intention, or like what, are you looking to inspire young people with what you do, or is that not your intention at all?
I kind of all of the above. I want to help in any way that I can, but being open is also a key thing, is being open to different ideas and because there's not always just one way to do something. There's, there can be multiple ways of doing things, and that you may not have thought of. So that's, to me, it's great to learn. I love that, and if I can help somebody, then great. I'm still learning, but hey, if this is something that helps you, great. We're all on this boat together. We're just got different oars.
I love that. We're all on this boat together. We just got different oars. That sounds like a song lyric to me.
I know. You're right.
See it in the next one.
Yeah, for sure.
It also reminds me of Noah's Ark a little bit. Like, each animal has a pair,
Right.
We got to make sure we're doing it together, or else we're not doing it at all. And that's so cool. Well, I'm going to ask you one more closing question.
Okay.
What advice would you give your maybe 16, 17, 18-year-old self?
Don't take life too seriously. Don't sweat the big stuff. And learn. Learn, and challenge yourself. I love that I surround myself with people who are better than me. I learned so much from them. And I find myself, I get better from that. But yeah, you know what? Don't ever turn down a coffee. You never know who that person is, or, the intern. The intern can end up being the CEO. You never know. In fact, it's funny. I'm somebody that believes in handwritten thank you notes.
Oh.
First of all, my mom would have my ass if I didn't. But, and I know in today's world, it's all emails and things like that. But I've just always been somebody like, you know, I like the handwritten thank you note. And when I was doing an interview on ABC in New York for, I think we were talking about a song that was coming. I can't exactly remember, but it was like a couple years ago. Anyway, and the woman that was coming off the stage was doing the entertainment for ABC, and you know, who's having a shindig with who and whatever and all that kind of stuff. And she came off and she was like, "Oh my gosh, Laura Bryna." She's like, "I have your thank you note in my office hanging on my bulletin board."
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh, really?" And you know, because she was at another magazine, and then now she's the head person at ABC. I was like, "Oh my God," you know. She's like, "I love you. Thank you for that." And you know, it's those little things. You know, it's the little touches. It's the little things that mean the most. And you know, always listen. You will learn so much by listening. You know, and take it all in. And always be you. Always be you, because you is great. You know? And, you know, people may have opinions about things, you know, and that's okay. You know, put them all together in the pot. Take a little bit in piece. Maybe it's something that you're like, okay, maybe I should do something like this. Or maybe it's, you know what? No, I feel like this. But always learn, and always surround yourself with people that you trust and that you can learn from is always something I would say. You know, that's what I try to do. So,
Yeah. Always be learning. Always surround yourself with people that you can trust and you can learn from.
Yeah.
Don't sweat the big stuff.
Right? Take time to smell those roses.
Take time to smell the roses. Listen before responding or reacting.
Because there's a hell of a lot more.
There is a hell of a lot more. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thanks for having me. Laura Bryna, LauraBryna. We got Facebook, we got Instagram, we got Spotify, Amazon, everything. LauraBryna.com. Please reach out. You know, I want to know what you're thinking. If the song touches you or makes you feel something, or you just want to vent or whatever it may be. But definitely, I would love for you to make a video with Rise. You know, we want to help with mental health in any way that we can. And again, it's $1 going to NAMI every single time. So every time somebody uses the song in a video, we would love to keep that going, because I think, you know, it's a big issue and we want to be a part of that, and we want to help in any way that we can.
I really enjoyed all the ways that Laura painted a picture of her entire life. I really saw everything from, you know, the despair of growing up and the traumas that happened, to the resilience and rising up, and the songwriting as an outlet, but also as inspiring other people, and the parrots and the glitter and the, you know, she's fully expressed, it seems, in her sense of self. And I love the way she just owns who she is. I think we can all learn from that. And today I really felt like her presence made a really big impact on me to be authentic and grounded in who I am and what I want to bring to this world, or what I know I came here to do. Everybody's mission is different. And so sticking to your own based on, you know, your life experience and what you're feeling called to do, I think is my biggest takeaway from this episode. And so I'm gonna see how this conversation changed me, because, you know, our stories are always evolving. So that was Laura Bryna. I'm Megan A Tully, and this has been Is There More? Thanks for listening.